In fact, we could probably go a little bit further and fire this incompetent administration. But if we are going to talk about efficiency and worry about some solar paneled whatevers, let's talk about the fact that as of March 30th, Trump's golfing has cost us approximately $26 million. And the last time I checked, we're not getting anything in return for that. So I will get back on my remarks, but I just wanted to point out that maybe we need to talk about the president and his golfing habits. In fact, he decided that he was going to golf as the markets were tanking. He decided he was going to golf instead of receiving 4 heroes who died serving this country. He has decided that he wanted to play games while the rest of us are really trying to make sure that we can serve the American people.
I would love for her to present any sort of evidence for this claim, but she might not get the time to do so. Representative Jasmine Crockett is under a lot of heat as the FEC just opened an investigation into donations that she received last year. Protests erupt as pro-Hamas activist gets bad news from an immigration judge, and President Donald Trump makes a shocking announcement regarding his tariffs on China. Guys, I've got all of that and a whole lot more, so let's go ahead and get back to Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett here. So the Federal Election Commission has just opened an investigation into the Democratic leader. Now, this is connected to donations that she received back in 2024. Donations that were made through Act Blue. You all know that as the Democratic fundraising operation, right? And I know that a lot of shady things have been discovered with them. One of which would be the random donations from the elderly that totaled up to thousands and thousands of dollars. Now, this is something that James O'Keefe exposed last year. And while Act Blue says that this is all propaganda, the same issue is now being raised again, this time with Jasmine Crockett. So it's reported that Jasmine received $595 in 53 separate political donations. And while that doesn't sound really weird, you should know that Act Blue reported that all 53 donations came from the same person. One person made 53 different donations. Now, that in and of itself is very questionable. Why? Because it opens up the possibility that Democrats are receiving money from people who don't want to be traced. Instead, they use the same person's identity 53 times. Now, this shows us that someone here is getting their identity stolen, which kind of shouts corruption all over the place. And so now Sheldon Daniels, the guy who's planning to unseat Jasmine Crockett from her position, did some investigative work. He actually found the elderly couple who were allegedly giving Jasmine Crockett so much money.
How do you do, ma'am?
No soliciting.
I'm not here. I'm not a solicitor. I'm attorney Sheldon Daniels.
Okay.
Is there a Randy Best who lives here?
That's my husband.
Yeah. I just want to verify. Are you guys aware that you were charged over $16,000 last year? Yeah.
What?
I have a list of charges. I'm just here to verify that you guys know about this. $16,240 in political contributions to a candidate named Jasmine Crockett. Do you remember that at all? Not. Does your husband remember that at all?
I don't know. He's on the road on his way to Colorado.
Okay. It says here that he's not employed. Is he employed now?
No, we're retired.
Okay. I can leave this with you if you want. It's got your information on it.
Yeah, you can just leave it on the table.
Yes, ma'am. You mind if I take a picture?
Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so I just drove by the home of this Randy Best guy. This guy, he's a 73-year-old retiree, unemployed. He and his wife, I guess they just travel around in an RV or something. I don't know. But he's on the road. His wife answered the door. She said that they had no idea what these charges were. And they had no idea that they were charged $16,000 or that they are responsible for $16,000 in political contributions to Jasmine Crockett. Yes, she has them listed as political contributors. Now, mind you, I'm way up here in Plano. I'm in a totally different county. I'm in Collin County right now. The only reason why I'm even able to do this is because I practice law all over North Texas and I drive all over. So I know North Texas very well. Collin County, Dallas County, Tarrant County, Denton County, Grayson County. A lot of shady stuff going on with Jasmine Crockett. And I see why she was doing all this. because she's trying to distract from the corruption. I wonder how deep it goes.
So this is why Jasmine Crockett's so pissed off about the work Doge is doing? Is this why she asked her supporters to take down Elon Musk? Whatever the case may be, this is not a good look, because according to the FEC complaint against her, she got more than $16,000. It says here, Representative Crockett, through her principal campaign committee, respondent Jasmine for US, has received thousands of other donations through ActBlue totaling $870,000. It's unclear how many of these are similarly fraudulent transactions made in the name of unsuspecting innocent people who did not actually provide the funds. Quick tip here, guys. You need to know this before your next Medicare deadline. I found Chapter, and I'm telling you, this is the team you want in your corner. And this is why I partnered with them. If you or someone close to you is on Medicare or hitting 65 soon, don't waste time guessing. Chapter's licensed experts will walk you through every option, double check that your doctors are included, and help uncover any kind of extra benefits you might not even know about. They check every available plan in your zip code, and they save the average person $1,100 a year. I know, it's crazy, right? And on top of that, it's completely free help. No tricks, just smart people helping you get what you've earned. So anyway, call my friends over at Chapter. Their phone number is 909-563-8279. You should see it up on your screen right now. You should see their phone number on the screen. Also, you can click askchapter.org/Ron. I'll leave a link for you down below if you prefer to hit them up online. But yeah, it's totally free and you'll be glad you did. Now, I'm hoping that we actually get some decent answers here, guys, because ActBlue and Jasmine Crockett have declined to comment on the issue. Now, as far as I know, the Congresswoman is being given around 2 weeks to respond to the complaint, although it's expected that her office will ask the FEC for an extension of up to 60 days to avoid creating too much smoke from this fire. Now, speaking of which, protests have erupted in New York City after an immigration judge in Louisiana ruled against Mahmoud Khalil. Now, as you guys might remember, Khalil is the Columbia University graduate student who participated in pro-Palestinian demonstrations, basically saying that they support Hamas in whatever they're doing.
Protests are raging right now in New York City after a judge ruled yesterday that pro-Hamas activist Mahmoud Khalil could be deported by the Trump administration. The post-grad student was labeled a national security risk after he led anti-Israel riots on Columbia's campus last year. Now, this is a major legal win for President Trump as he continues his battle against anti-Semitism on college campuses, while Khalil's lawyers say that they plan to appeal the ruling. Watch.
We are taking a stand on behalf of Mahmoud, and he is taking a stand. He's decided to stay in jail and fight this case to the bitter end while we try to establish that people like Mahmoud have a constitutional right to speak out in this country.
But Secretary of State Marco Rubio disagrees.
If you are in this country to promote Hamas, to promote terrorist organizations, to participate in vandalism, to participate in acts of rebellion and riots on campus, we never would have let you in if we had known that. And now that we know it, you're going to leave. He's going to leave, and so are others, and we're going to keep doing it.
Now, remember that they're saying that this is a freedom of speech issue, that Mahmoud is allowed to say whatever he wants to say inside the United States. The problem is their message, though. Listen to what Douglas Murray discusses here on Fox News.
One of the things they call for, in their own words, is, quote, they say they are, quote, fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. I'll read that again because it's so unbelievable. They are fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. Now, I suggest that Marco Rubio, Secretary Rubio, was completely right when he said some weeks ago, what country would invite people into the country and allow them all the advantages of the country if the person in question uses their time in the country to destroy the country? Not just by, as in the case of Khalil and his group, intimidating Jewish students and threatening Jewish students and hounding them across their places of study, but by abusing the staff at the university, by physically harming people who worked there as janitors, by shutting down public buildings, by shutting down public highways, by many other things. What country in its sane mind would allow people in to do that? If I went and moved to Paris on a student visa, I think one of the things I would not do whilst there would be to try to overthrow the French state. Because if I did, I'd guess that I could get into trouble. This is not about the First Amendment's rights of an American citizen. This is about somebody coming to America who used his time in America to campaign and wage war against America.
It's like visiting someone's house and then threatening the owners that you're going to burn it down. Now, besides calling the cops on you, I'm pretty sure you're never going to get invited back into that house. And this is the very case that they're trying to make with Khalil. While they do have time to fight back on the deportation, odds are that it eventually happens. Now, moving on, guys, President Trump has once again made waves by altering his tariffs on China, making a huge change that many see as a weak move. Now, we're not sure if someone got into his ear about this, but it's kind of odd to see him walk back on his words like this.
But first, we are tracking tariffs as the back and forth between the U.S. and China over trade explodes this week. The president putting a 145% tariff on China, who now has a 125% retaliatory tariff on the U.S. Those new tacked-on taxes now in effect after President Trump's 90-day pause on tariffs did not include China. President Xi now saying he is not afraid of a trade war. But there are some notable exceptions emerging today. Key imports from Beijing not subjected to the new order. And News Nation's Libby Dean live for us at the White House to break it all down. Libby, what items from China are exempt from reciprocal tariffs tonight?
It's electronics, Natasha, and the White House appearing to walk back some tariffs on China today, signaling out those exported electronics, now only getting a 20% tariff instead of that original 145% tariff that was threatened this week.
If China continues to retaliate, it's not good for China.
The White House issuing a strong warning to China Friday, only to expand tariff exemptions on China Saturday, announcing electronics aren't subject to the 125% tariff hike on China. But electronics imported into the U.S. from China aren't completely in the clear. They still face that 20% fentanyl-related tariff. The move benefits major tech companies like Apple, Dell, Nvidia, and Supermicro.
This is not the tough on China message that many of us wanted, although we're going to have to wait and see what happens since the president continues to say that a positive deal could be on the horizon. Now, the question is, do we come out of this thing with a win? Now, there's a lot of trust in how the president does his deals, especially as the fearmongers got embarrassed recently. After all the panic that the markets are crashing, we're now starting to look at a strong economy on the way up. But you got to wonder, where did all this fear come from? Now, I cover this in an information-filled video that you guys absolutely have to check out. As always, appreciate your time. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribing. We'll see you guys next time.